how can you build a training regimen to get you prepared for that Super Bowl, right? This isn't something that's maybe you're going to accomplish next month. This isn't something that's a tomorrow situation. This is a maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. You're preparing for that date. And what are the small things that you can do all along? What's your season going to look like to prepare you for that championship moment? All right, we're out. I was gigging it for sure. Okay, so if you're watching live, we appreciate you. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have been growing across our YouTube channels with Truvel Forever, Play Black Wall Street. Our listenership is growing across Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We truly do appreciate y'all. Definitely make sure you follow, subscribe, and tell a friend about the podcast. Right? We try to give as best holistic information as we can. So if you have someone that you care about and you feel like they should be living their best life too, share the podcast with them. They'll appreciate it. Right. So today, I feel like the main theme is procrastination versus preparation. When you think of, and Queen, if I fall off the deep end, reel me in. But I feel like when you think of an athlete's life, you think of their training regimen, you think of their dedication, literally all the training almost in their life leads them to the Super Bowl. Right. Or if it was the NBA leads them to the finals, if it was skiing leads them to the Olympics. But it's crazy how all this life, all this work, all this training, all this coaching, all this dedication, all the sacrifices leads you to this one very pivotal moment. And I like the connection to the did you know is because I think we sometimes think in that week before the event, we need to be doing a whole bunch of extra training. We need to be stressing ourselves out to give us that extra edge. But we don't realize we've been training for years.
Right.
You've been preparing for this moment for over 20 years, over 30 years, for some rare NFL players or NBA players for almost 40 years. You've been training for this moment. So maybe training and stress isn't the most important in this week. It is the self-care, it is the meditation, it's the healing process and getting in the right mindset. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I feel like for what I thought about when you were talking about that is like a connection to I feel like I'm hunching over.
Yeah. So my beautiful queen, it's just when I listen back to the podcast, one, I speak louder. So this is my voice is a little bit louder. And then two, I know you like to look over at my luscious beard.
I do. I just won't look at you anymore.
I know it's gonna hurt.
But I made a connection to like college and midterms and stuff like that. Yeah. When it's like you the natural inclination is to pull an all-nighter and get all your late night studying in and do all of this extra studying because you think that's going to help you. But in actuality, most of the time you will do better with a good night's sleep because all that cramming is actually decreasing your brain's ability to recall all of the stuff that you do know. So it's like it's really hurting yourself. So I feel like for those athletes who have really been doing the right things throughout their entire life, you've been training the right way all throughout your career and all throughout the season. Yeah, this last week really should be more about rest. Whereas the athletes who maybe are like, shoot, we got the Super Bowl. Like, I didn't prepare for this. I'm not ready. They may be the ones feeling like, shoot, I gotta get in the gym. I gotta get these last minute drills. I gotta memorize my plays. So I feel like it's really the making sure you put yourself in the position to be prepared for those blessings. Train as if you are going to the Super Bowl, right? Those moments are going to happen. And if you don't believe that they're going to happen, so train as if it's going to happen so that you don't have to like put it into high gear and do all this last minute prep when those moments do present themselves.
Yeah, I really like that concept of train as if without a shadow of a doubt that the moment is coming. So my question for you, Queen, and of course for the folks that are listening and watching, is what is your Super Bowl? right? Think about that. What event is your Super Bowl? And you may have multiple Super Bowls, right? I know, Queen, you have probably multiple Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowls, but the one that you care to share, what is one just amazing moment that you are preparing for, you are dreaming about? And the secondary question is going to be, how can you build a training regimen to get you prepared for that Super Bowl? Right? This isn't something that's maybe you're going to accomplish next month. This isn't something that's a tomorrow situation. This is a maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. You're preparing for that date. And what are the small things that you can do all along? What's your season going to look like to prepare you for that championship moment? Right. So, Quinn,
Yes.
for you, what is your Super Bowl? What is your Olympics? What is your championship game? What is your you got served final dance off? I'm doing all these analogies to give you just a little bit more time to think about it.
I don't have one. Like I
Mhm.
can't think of like any one particular big thing, but like an example would be like being a speaker at a big conference, like a big
Yeah.
health conference or something like that. That would be a Super Bowl moment for me because one, you know, speaking, public speaking, although like yes, I did give a speech at graduation, but it just feels different. I'm a different person now.
Mhm.
But yeah, public speaking in front of that many people is something that would definitely like terrify me. But I
Mm.
know that that would be a good growth step to get to, and I know that that is something that I still want to work towards because that means that I've reached the point where I'm now an authority in the health world, and people are there to listen to me. At
Yeah.
that point, have paid to listen to me and other speakers. Really, now that I'm talking about
Hey,
it,
come
it
on,
would be it
manifest.
would be my own conference
Uh huh.
that I put on,
Uh huh.
because then everybody who has paid to come and learn from me and my team, whoever that is at the time, um, my Be Well coaches. But yeah, that would be a Super Bowl moment for me. Is like, oh wow, all of these people just paid to come and hear and to experience what we have to offer.
Yeah. So I wanna continue to unpack this because I believe so wholeheartedly, one, in you,
Yes.
and in two, the power of manifestation.
Yes.
So you said they're here for a conference to learn from you. What are you teaching them, or what are you and your team of health coaches teaching this amazing audience?
I imagine this amazing audience probably being people who also want to help people.
Mm,
So I feel like my end goal is to like create a program for coaches who want to help go out into the Black community and help people heal holistically. So I imagine that the people in that audience would be people who other coaches, other doctors, nurses, personal trainers, any type of health professionals who also want to um, help their clients and their families and their communities heal holistically, but through a Black lens, because
yeah.
that's really what I'm want to make my program is that we have a lot of health. If you know the history of health, it's all based on white men, like all of the research, even research on women is still very new. Really, a lot of what is practiced and preached in the medical field right now was done on white men and then just kind of put blanketly for everybody else. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, we're just going to apply this to everybody else. It works for everybody else. And I feel like really what's happening now is a more individualized approach to medicine and to health. Um, but yeah, I want to create something for us by us that has our culture, our history, our health, our mindset, our reality in
Mm,
mind, and teaches that.
love it. Two more questions for you, Queen.
Okay.
Number one, and please, if y'all listening, watching, keep track of these questions, and I'll try to reiterate them for you as well, because literally the power of manifestation is so amazing. I love it. It's not going to necessarily happen in the time frame that you set all the time, but if you keep your vision very specific and you keep going through that vision, you write down that vision, you talk it into existence, you put it into the airwaves, it will come to pass, right? So, Queen, for you, one, how many people do you feel in this audience? And then number two, what is one tangible, functional thing that you want the audience to walk away with? Right?
Um, how many people? Like 2 or 3,000.
Ooh, let's go. Okay, 2 or 3 thousand bodies, minds, souls. Okay, and then what are they walking away with?
They're walking away with a different way to look at health rather than like, here's a model and I'm going to fit the model to the person. Like looking at the person and being like, okay, I'm going to understand you, your lifestyle, where you're at. These are my tools. What tools can I pull out of my toolbox to help you get to where you want to go? Because I think that that's also a problem in the health field, is that we're just using these standard models, that models of care, diets, exercise regimes that are very generic and are individualized at all. So that's what I would want them to walk away with.
Nice. Let's manifest that for you, right? 2 to 3 thousand people in a crowd there to learn, and they will walk away with knowing that each individual has a different individualized approach to their health. Boom. It's gonna happen. Can y'all feel it? I can feel it. I can see it. So do that same thing for you. Right. Figure out what is your Super Bowl. What is your big, large event that you are training for, that you are working up to. And now that I'm saying this out loud, I got one more question for you after I go through this. But what is the big event, right? Who do you see at that big event? Who is it for? What are they going to get out of it? And then if you can get a number of people, that can help with the visualization just a little bit too. Last question for you, Queen. I promise. Well, last question in this barrage of questions. How do you train for that? Right. So this is your Super Bowl event. If you were an athlete, you would be going to the gym, you'd be lifting, you'd be practicing your plays, you would be doing coaching drills, all types of stuff to train for this Super Bowl. But for your speaking engagement, for your conference, what does your training look like on a monthly, weekly, daily basis to prepare you for whenever this event occurs?
Well, this is training.
The podcast.
Yeah, speaking, right? There's no audience, but it's still training.
Oh, there's an audience.
No live audience. Well, I mean, there is a live audience too. But nobody I can see, no eyeballs I'm looking at beside yours, as Granny would say. But yeah, this is training right here. My webinars that I do, anything where I'm talking about health is training, right? It's not to the level yet, but you have to start somewhere. You don't start, and athletes don't start lifting 450 pounds. Like, you got to work your way there. Coaching, like when I work with my clients, that's that individualized approach. I want to be able to talk from experience when I am sharing, the approaches that I recommend people to take with their clients. Yeah.
Nice. So an activity I would say you can do, and if like you're already doing this, so I'm just gonna say it to you as if I'm saying it to everyone else who's listening. I gotta be able to use you as an amazing scholar and student, baby. So you have your goal, and you can set it for 5 years out, 2 years out, whatever you want to do. And I think we've talked about this before, but it's what can you do every week that gets you one micro step closer to that goal. And I think for you, the podcast is something you can do intentionally every single week, and you can do it now with the energy of saying, one day I'm going to be on stage, 2,000 people, 3,000 people are going to be listening. I'm preparing every single day for that moment. And I think you may come to the podcast with a little different swag when you think that, right? Number 2, monthly, which is something, again, you're already doing, but what can you do every single month that gets you to your goal? For you, webinars. Teaching people, 5 people at a time, 20 people at a time, 100 people at a time. And one day, I think your webinar is going to get to a point where there's hundreds of people. And that's going to be the moment you're like, if hundreds of people are showing up for this online webinar, I can translate this to a conference now, right? So your webinar almost becomes your scrimmages, right? Or your season games. And then boom, you get to the final championship game. Right? So looking forward to it, Queen. Looking forward to it. Shifting gears just a little bit. And Queen, do you have any questions, comments?
No.
Genius.
No.
I have genius. You got some genius. Come on now. I want to shift gears just a little bit to how in the Super Bowl specifically as a core event, and this can be for you too, there's different perspectives to the Super Bowl. Right, there's the main athlete who's playing in the game. They've been preparing for 20, 30 years. They've been training. They're ready. They're going to play the game, right? They prepare for the Super Bowl different than the fan does, right?
The fan stands in line at Stater Brothers for 2 hours to get their bean dip, their ribs, their steaks, their chips and sodas. Sorry, it was madness at Stater Brothers. So
no, that felt like it came from the soul. It felt like you were talking to Frank personally. Frank. But even before like the day of the event, right? You're sending invites to people, say, hey, come to this house at this time, or hey, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl, or people are flying in, they're driving into LA, they're getting ready to be a part of that Super Bowl, to be a part of that event, buying their jerseys, right? Doing all types of stuff to be a part of the event. They're preparing. So even for your main life event, right, Queen, for your amazing health conference, there's going to be people that are going to be preparing for that conference. People that are telling friends, posting on social media, buying their tickets, traveling, flying into wherever you're hosting it, whether it's in the Maldives. That's just somewhere she wants to go. I don't think this conference is going to be in the Maldives, but if it is, it's going to be 2 people at that conference. I'm one of them. But yeah, I feel like it's just interesting how we can see different perspectives preparing for the same event. So it's like your role in your Super Bowl is going to look different than your role in someone else's Super Bowl. Right? The way that I prepare for your Super Bowl is going to look, sorry for my cold hands. Sorry for my cold hands. It's going to look very different from how I prepare for my Super Bowl. Right? Yeah, I had a point there.
But I mean, it is true. I think it has to be very specific to, like you said, what your role is. You will have a role at that conference, whatever that is. And it will probably be, it will definitely be different than my role. But you have to figure out like what role are you playing in that Super Bowl? And how do you prepare for that role? Right. So if you are, like you said, if you are a coach in that Super Bowl, you're going to be preparing differently than a player. If you are if you are me in the conference, I'm going to be preparing differently than one of the coaches under me, or one of the audience members, or one of the staff serving the food, like, one of the people hosting the workshops. Like, we're all going to have our different preparations, but at the end of the day, it is still a large event that everybody has a part in.
Right. Very beautiful point. I think you helped me come back to where I was thinking, where everybody has a role to play in the Super Bowl. From the fans to the people throwing popcorn, to the real estate developers who built the stadium, to the other smaller real estate developers who bought
people
land,
in the parking lot that are
the parking lot people, all the food vendors, the hot dog person outside the stadium,
hot dogs and the peppers. Come on now.
You already know everybody has a role to play in the Super Bowl, right? So again, the charge to you is 2 things. Either one, what is your Super Bowl going to be, and how are you preparing for your own Super Bowl? And if for whatever reason right now you're not prepared to dream about your own Super Bowl, or you're not prepared to take on that, how can you play a role in someone else's Super Bowl? Right? If you have a friend, if you know that there's another big event happening for a mentor or a family member, your partner may be the dreamer and the visionary, and you can support them. But how can you play a role in what you do beautifully and what you do well in a large event that can help you out?
I think it also is cool to see it. I feel like it makes it more realistic, or more easier to see it. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say.
Words.
But like, if whatever your Super Bowl is going to be, when I witness you play in that Super Bowl, I'm gonna be like, well, snap, he played in his Super Bowl. It wasn't as daunting as I thought it was gonna be, or he thought it was gonna be. So, all right, what's my Super Bowl gonna be like? I can do this. Like, I feel like it makes it more easy to visualize and bring to fruition when you see somebody close to you do their Super Bowl. Like you said, play your role in their Super Bowl, but because you're close to them, you can see like, oh, they did it. It was successful, or okay, it was not how they wanted it, but these are the things that they took away from it, whatever comes from it.
And I think we literally had that. And after this, like, think about your ass DeClair queen. But we literally had that in my Super Bowl was going to Tulsa in 2021. Right. That was by far the Super Bowl of the Play Black Wall Street business. Right. We didn't know it was going to be the Super Bowl at the time, or we didn't. When we started the business, we weren't preparing for that moment specifically, but we were prepared for that moment specifically by what we were doing, right? And in case this is your first episode, we of course built the board game Black Wall Street, the board game built on the history of Tulsa's Black Wall Street in 2017. In 2021, it was the 100th year commemoration of the Black Wall Street massacre. And as a team, we wanted to go to Tulsa, learn about the history. We came with games. We were trying to give free games out. People didn't let us give free games. Somehow we were able to get connected with the descendants of the last living survivors of the Black Wall Street massacre. We were able to meet them in person, give them a game, create partnerships. It was a huge Super Bowl moment for the team, for the business, for me personally as an entrepreneur. And I think you were able to obviously be there, witness it, support in the logistics, and like making sure we got the hotel, making sure we had tour set up, making sure we had this set up. And yeah, I just showed up and smiled and shook hands, y'all. Took pictures, random interviews with like news people, got to take a picture with Chris Gardner. There's a whole bunch of good stuff, right? And in that Super Bowl, which humbly I will claim as my Super Bowl, we had the Queen, who played an amazing role in logistics. We had Daniel, who played an amazing role in capturing video and photography. We had my dad, who played an amazing role as helping to network, giving out cards and meeting with new people. We had, I'm forgetting his name. His name Jason? Yeah. See, it's just in the subconscious. We had Jason there, who wasn't initially a part of the team. He was a last round draft pick, right? If you think about this like sports stuff, where it was my dad's friend, but we met him. He had a rental car and we didn't have a car. So he was able to take us to all different locations, including meeting the Black Wall Street survivors. So it's like literally everybody played a role, whether it was the role that they were expecting to play or a role that, we needed them to play in the moment. Everybody played a role in that Super Bowl event. And I think within that kind of gave you a little bit of a charge, like, all right, yeah, let's I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And then 6 months later, she quits her job and she's now a full-time health coach.
Indeed. You're my inspiration.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Proud to be your muse. So, we're gonna shift over a little bit, but again, the main point here is today is Super Bowl Sunday. Go Rams. And what we really want you to do is, how can you, go Rams, prepare go Rams for your Super Bowl Sunday or for your Super Bowl event, whatever that looks like. We really want you to dream. If you're watching live or even in the what's it called, in Spotify, it now lets you do like questions and answers in there as well. So I'll try to remember to go back there and put this question in. But what is your dream? What is your Super Bowl event? And how can you take one step closer to being prepared for that event? Let's not procrastinate, right? If we would have tried to create the board game, market the board game, and travel to Tulsa all in the year of 2021, it wouldn't have happened.
And there's probably a lot of people who tried to do that, like not with the A board game specifically, but like,
trying to make something.
Right, what can I do with Black Wall Street?
Yeah, to capture on the moment. But again, you need to, and I've said this in a quote before, you need to create the ripples that lead to the wave. Everyone tries to sometimes hop on that wave while the wave is coming. No, you're going to drown. Don't do that. All right. Create those ripples. And then by the time the wave comes, you will be right there on top of the wave. I don't surf at all, so this is probably a bad metaphor. But you'll be right on top of the wave and you'll be good to go. All right. So prepare for your Super Bowl event. Queen. Queen. Do you have a Ask DeClair for today?
So I did, but then you answered it. But I guess I could still answer it. I could still ask it and we just come up with something else. I was going to ask, like, what is a battle that you have faced and how did you prepare for it? But you just answered it with the Tulsa question. Do you have another battle in mind? Or another Super Bowl?
I do have another. I have a few Super Bowls. I'm trying to think which one. So Rose and Rodney is a beautiful, amazing animated cartoon that we just created, or we're in the process of creating. And I have a big vision of what I want Rose and Rodney to be.
I should clarify one that's already happened.
Oh, good. See, look at
Sorry.
you. A Super Bowl that's already happened, other than the wedding, which was delightful. That was a for sure Super Bowl. I can talk a little bit about the wedding. So as y'all know, weddings are expensive. So I know the queen was bougie from jump. I know that it needed to be extravagant, but she did a wonderful job at it still being within reason.
Thank you.
Yeah, within reason. But a few things that I did to prepare for not only purchasing the ring, but also preparing for the wedding is one. I ate oatmeal. The breakfast and lunch and dinner of champions. Ate oatmeal for about 6 months. That helped me get a good surplus of cash. Right. Number two was I was be- between like doing like Uber Eats, Lyft to get extra money to pay for the wedding, or starting a business to create revenue that paid for the wedding. Guess which one we did? We did create a business, right? So that was one of the motivations of also going like full fledged into Black Wall Street, the board game, was one for the history, for the financial literacy and the impact that it can have. But for two, it was like, okay, we have a wedding coming up in a year and a half. How can we generate some revenue, and how can we build a business that can help pay for this wedding as well? Um, so I would say those would probably be the two main things I did. Of course, like a whole bunch of budgeting, like even after the oatmeal thing, we did move in together, and that kind of helped with us both being able to budget. We created budgets for the household. And we're like, okay, you're gonna pay for this, I'm gonna pay for that. This is going to savings, this is going to business XYZ. And then yeah, at the end, we were able to pay for the wedding and purchase our first real estate property as well. So yeah, I would say that would probably be another Super Bowl that we prepared for. And I think executed pretty darn well, if I don't say so myself. We did our thing with that wedding. It was popping.
It was.
And I'm not just saying that because it was my wedding. Yes, I am. It was popping.
It was.
Really good experience. Great honeymoon that was planned by the queen. You know what I'm saying? She be doing her thing. And yeah, it was just a really good experience.
Sometimes I wish I could press rewind and go back to that wedding, that whole like month,
that whole
that
I don't
wedding,
know about the whole month, the week.
The week before the wedding, the honeymoon, and the moving into the condo.
Gotcha.
Like if I could just replay those, like
Yeah.
and I'm feeling down, that would be great.
See, I wish I did more documenting. I feel like we could probably make a little short thing out of it just to feel it. But the wedding, we have a beautiful video that was done by Palm. It is on the YouTube channel. Go check that out. But we still need to create the videos for the honeymoon, which I have a whole bunch of footage. Harry, they're coming to you soon. But yeah, it's great. And I have footage from the week when people were coming in for our thing. So, you know, I might go and make a little mini docu series out of that. We'll see. I don't know. Some of it's unrated. I don't know.
We have two versions.
Yeah, two versions for sure.
But I think I was gonna say the preparing for, because you did drop it at the end of there, the fact that we were able to, we were blessed and prepared to have the wedding and buy a property, because I feel like a lot of times people are choosing between which they're going to do, which if you start preparing early enough, you can do both, right? It does take some discipline, right? Neither one of us have been driving fresh new cars, right? We've been
Mine was fresh because we got in a car accident. So in 2017, technically, we started off with a fresh car. RP loyal.
I guess not by choice necessarily, just out of necessity. But yeah, like we've been very smart, hopefully, you know, with our money as much as possible, so that we can, and we're doing the same thing right now, like being very strategic so that we can make the future moves happen. So I think sometimes it does take that initial sacrifice in the moment, but if you again remember the Super Bowl, Remember the Super Bowl you got coming, then this initial sacrifice is going to seem like nothing when you're there. It's going to be like 100% worth it. So just be careful that you don't focus too much on living in luxury now so that you miss your opportunity for the Super Bowl.
Heavy bar. Repeat it one more time. That last.
Don't try not to focus too much on living in the luxury now and unintentionally sacrifice your opportunity at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, right? That delayed gratification. Oh, so heavy because we're getting into a hole. Gosh, we're getting into a hole, y'all.
Should this be another podcast?
It was supposed to be a short episode. So I just want to say really quickly that one, we had a 2-year engagement, right, which did help with being able to save for the wedding and to be able to save for the home as well. So with the preparation, the sacrifice, I think sometimes people like, I want to get married and then I want my wedding in 6 months, or
and then they start saving
for
the wedding. Sorry, I thought I knew where you were going with that. Continue.
No, you made a left turn, right turn, U-turn, stop,
U-turn,
switch
back.
cars.
Go ahead. You're in the driver's seat.
But
switch cars.
Switch cars. But yeah, that 2-year engagement allowed us to create the plan and allowed us to say, okay, ideally, right? We literally like, ideally, we want to be able to find a property, put an offer in, get the offer accepted, go to our honeymoon, come back and move into our house. We literally manifested that. We want this to happen. Save up. Let's find a 0% down payment. That didn't work out. We tried NACA, but for us, it didn't work out. Okay, what's the next one? Cool. 3.5%. Beautiful. Let's save up this. Okay, where do you want to go for your honeymoon? Okay, you want to go here, and everything was planned out. So it's like for those probably year and a half, right? It was really sticking to the plan and let's get to this Super Bowl. And yeah, worked out beautifully. To zooming past to today, where I think I may be struggling a little bit, not gonna lie with you. I'm currently in a real estate hole in the sense that like I really want to invest in another real estate property. But your words of wisdom were, I think, marinating and bobbling around in my head where it's like, take your time. And first, we need to define for us what is the next real estate Super Bowl, right? Because I think I've thrown out probably 3 different real estate investments that we can potentially do. All are pretty different. And I think what we need to do is sit down and figure out, okay, for DeClair in this phase for 2021, for 2022, goodness gracious, right? Where are the years going? For 2022, for DeClair real estate investment, what is our Super Bowl? And when I'm thinking about it, our Super Bowl is a real estate investment that allows us to replace your income, right? And possibly build out the business. Not possibly. If I'm dreaming Super Bowl, it's replacing income, right? So we gotta get that passive income coming in and having a commercial storefront or a commercial experience for True Health Forever and being able to put this podcast, this studio into a physical, beautiful location. That in my head is a Super Bowl. I know this is going to be a longer conversation, but I feel like I've been putting out all these other real estate stuff. Like we can do this, we can do this. But at the end of the day, once we have the conversation and we define what the Super Bowl moment is, we should delay gratification, delay the luxury, and wait until we're able to play and execute this Super Bowl moment. Thoughts?
Longer conversation. But I mean, yeah, that makes sense. We definitely need to figure out what the next property is for.
Yes.
Like, what is the purpose of the next property? I think that is the pivotal thing that we need to do.
Agreed. So this is why I love these podcasts, right? They're good, hopefully, for you all listening out there, whether you're listening on Apple Music, Spotify, you're watching on YouTube live. We appreciate you, and we hope that you're able to take some good nuggets, get some good motivation, and within this episode, you're able to define what your Super Bowl moment is and start training for that moment. Just so y'all know, when you see us in our amazing new studio. This is going to be one of the pivotal episodes that led to that. When you see the queen on stage in front of thousands of people, you'll be able to be like, dang, episode 98, they said they was going to do that. Appreciate y'all. All right. As we wrap up, Queen, updates for the week. What's going down? What you got to say to the people?
So we do have a free weight loss masterclass this Wednesday, the 16th. Yes, the 16th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be talking a lot about calories because I know that that is a hot topic when we think about weight loss. And so I will touch on calories and kind of the calorie deficit model, but I'm mainly going to talk about why that's only one part of the weight loss equation, and the weight loss formula. And unless you are truly going to address all of the other parts of the formula, you're not truly going to get the outcome, the sustainable weight loss and fat loss that you want to see. So if you like me, you've done all the calorie counting, you've done the points and tracking all of that stuff, and you still haven't seen that successful, sustainable weight loss, definitely tune in to learn about all the other things that you need to be doing to make sure that you lose the weight and keep it off for good.
Beautiful.
Yes. So go to queen2queencoaching.com/masterclass216 to register for the masterclass on Wednesday. If you can't do that, or if I mess up the link, then go to my Instagram page at The Health Nerd, and you can find the link in my bio.
Boom, boom. There it is. And do you still have queen to queen coaching packages available for folks, or do you want them to focus on the webinar this week?
I do have queen to queen packages available. I will be talking a little bit about them at the end of the masterclass, so I'll just leave a teaser there. Summer is right around the corner, but now, exactly like what we talked about, you cannot wait until May to get that summer body. Summer bodies are made in the winter, and even though it's 80 degrees outside, it's technically winter in California. Okay, so this is the time to start preparing for your May, June, July vacations. I know we got one we trying to plan. So I'm like, Monday, let's go. We going hard. Yep. Monday, all the way up until the vacation. So now is the time to prepare for the summer body that you want. So come and find out what packages we have for you. And I mentioned before, all individualized. I'm not going to give you a blank, okay, eat this diet and do these exercises. I don't know if it's going to work for you. And I don't know if you're actually going to do that. It's pointless to me to say, go out, run 3 miles every day if you don't like running, because it's not going to be sustainable. So I work with you to create a very individualized protocol and program so that you can live your best life. I meet you where you're at and meet your health goals.
Oh, there it is. Appreciate you, Queen. You out here doing your thing. And that was a beautiful tie-in to the episode.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
On this side, one, I got to give the Queen some flowers. She did an amazing job at finding us a dope vendoring opportunity that we went to yesterday. Shout out to the Black Collective in Riverside.
Yes.
Right. Shout out to the Black Collective for hosting. We had some, we sold IOTAs for hosting. I don't know what the chapter is. Sorry for the disrespect, but shout out to Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. What else was there? Oh yeah, we sold Masterpiece Edition games, second edition games, some T-shirts. The Queen gave out some books, some Rose and Rodney books. We were to network with some folks. It was a really good vibe. So shout out to the Queen.
Thank you.
You're doing your thing. What else was there?
Oh shucks.
Oh, and of course, thank you for everyone who purchased the 7 steps to launch your business for my birthday. The book is still available, the ebook and the physical copy. But if you get the physical copy, it comes with access to our weekly accountability call. You see the Queens doing some numbers. You see Dominique's doing some numbers. Sam may be joining. Ryan may be joining. Brandon may be joining. So we got some folks that are on their way to join the weekly calls as well. But you can get the ebook or the physical or both. Go to happybirthdaytruvel.com to go ahead and get your book. If you're serious about starting your business this year, this is the book you got to get. right? Simple, affordable, and it is a 7-step process to make you successful. Had an interesting conversation with a young man, Andre, right, yesterday, who had a whole bunch of questions.
Andre or Andres?
So I thought he said Andres when he introduced himself, but then he followed me on Instagram and it just said Andre. So maybe I misheard him, or maybe he just goes by Andre on Instagram. Either way, I was giving him tons of game on how to launch his business, literally millions of dollars worth of game on how he can launch his business within the next 7 days. And he was doing like some really interesting animations and drawings and trying to launch a fashion brand from it. So I was like, hey, you want to launch a fashion brand? Do this, do that, do this, and you could be launched within 7 days. Boom. That may be something I talk about here or catch it on the accountability call. All right. Again, go to happybirthdaytruvel.com and get yourself the 7 steps to launch your business today. Queen.
King.
Queen.
King.
Thank you for co-hosting with me. I hope you had a wonderful time. Would you like to do our outro today?
Thank you for joining us for another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live the best life through the lens of holistic health.
Yes.
I am Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd, creator of Queen to Queen Coaching.
Yes, you are.
And with me, I have
Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And we hope you stay healthy. We hope you stay mentally wealthy. And we hope you stay true. Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.